Okay, let's go ahead and get started with Anna, and I'll give you the floor. We'll start the timer, and we'll be thinking of questions and stuff during your presentation.
Okay. I feel like it's Toastmasters. It's like, okay, how many minutes are we gonna have? All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, Tuesday. I don't know what day of the week it is.
Cinco de Mayo.
None of us. Cinco de Mayo. That's right. Happy Cinco de Mayo, whatever that is. So my name's Anna Kantzavelos. I think I know half the people on this call, so it's good to meet everybody. And just thank you to Craig and Roxie and Robin for putting this together and allowing us to all meet one another, because I think it's just a great way to do that. And I don't know that we would have otherwise. As I keep saying, with this kind of quarantine and COVID crisis, it's come up with some things that I think, you know, we wouldn't have done otherwise. So that's good. It's made us connect on a different level, and I think on a deeper level. So I love that. So thank you guys for this. Let me get to my screen. So my name is Anna Kantzavelos. Just call me Anna, or as the neighbors call me, as Mrs. K, because they can't say our last name. And I'm the owner of Elevate 122. I also own a pharmacy with my husband, which I'll tell you about a little bit. Signed on with Nexus because I love that it's all about impact. I think that's really an important part for business. So I just love that that's their why. So a few fun facts. And move my thing over. Okay, so we have a dog named Alexa, and we named her before the Alexa came out. So it was crazy in our house for a while with Alexa, and it was like, we thankfully unplugged all the Alexas and we no longer have them, but who would have thought of all the names? That's what we decided on. I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but I wake up with a different song in my head every single morning, and I feel like I should write it down and like look for a pattern, but there's no pattern. A lot of K-Love songs, but other than that, sometimes it's just like a random 80s song. I'm first generation American. My parents are from Greece. And I have to say, I didn't appreciate it at the time. I was born here in Indy, but I didn't appreciate it at the time having that. We used to go to Greece every single summer, just kind of what we did. But it's really shaped a lot of my perspective. And I'm just really thankful to have that background and viewpoint of the world. So my morning routine is a little bit of God and a little bit of fun. So I need my coffee, I need my Bible app, and then I just need to play a couple games of Candy Crush. It's guilty pleasure. I'm not a housewives girl or any kind of Netflix thing, but love me some Candy Crush. Okay, a little more about me. You can see there's my family. Interesting journey I'll tell you about, but always had an interest in learning and helping people. That's just kind of foundational for me. Who is it on here as Butler? I think it's Stephanie. Yeah. So I always wanted to go into medicine and be a pediatrician and help kids. I've always loved kids. Didn't want to live the doctor life, so became a PA. And then God had different plans for our lives. So practiced as a physician assistant. I was at Methodist for a number of years. And then we had 3 kids under the age of 3. So we stayed home, or I stayed home with them. And was grateful that I was able to do that. And then, so I've been married to my husband for 18 years. We've got 3 kids. And my husband came one day, he was working at Walgreens, and he's like, let's invent a product. And I'm like, sure, there's like, you know, babies and diapers. And again, like this, I don't know what day of the week it is, but let's do it. So we invented a product. And that was God's kind of walkway into our future. It's from that product we got to meet the owner of Nor Apothecary, which is a pharmacy, and my husband's a pharmacist. And he was ready to sell it after having it for 40 years and just having known us, buy this product, and he was just buying it and selling it to his patients. He said, I really think you're gonna continue the legacy, and I would love for you guys to purchase it. So that's how we came to own Nor Apothecary. So a little bit about that. We purchased it. It's been 5 years this month. And it's all about custom compounding. So we hand make every prescription. So the easiest way to explain that is, let's say it's hormone replacement therapy, and you're kind of, you don't want to take traditional hormone replacement therapy, or your levels are such that you need a very specific dose. We can do that. Or if there's an elderly patient who can no longer swallow pills, or maybe they've had a stroke, then we can turn their medication into liquid, sometimes a cream. Pediatric medication, we can make it without kind of dyes and additives and preservatives. And then we kind of really focus also on supplements and vitamins. without the fillers. You know where it comes from. They're third party tested and those kinds of things. So with the business, it's from the product that we invented, we came to really know our strengths. You saw that we've been together almost 22 years, married 18, and you think you know somebody. And then we invent a product with 3 babies at home, and we really get tested. So we came to see our strengths in business, and he's very detail oriented, and I'm more of the big picture strategic thinker. So that works well now in the pharmacy. He's the pharmacist. He loves the day-to-day routine, and I love kind of the back end, bigger picture, finding opportunities and fixing problems as they come up. So that's our roles in that. So the business name, Elevate 122, I'll tell you another funny story, is rooted in Romans 12:2, which is, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I'll tell you, I'm not one of those people that knows the Bible inside and out. I can't memorize script very well or people very well. It's just not my strong point. As I said, I'm not a detail person necessarily. I love details, but can't remember them. But this one, just whenever I read it, it just really stood out to me. And so the interesting thing is, I'll tell you another quick funny story. My middle name is Aphrodite. I'm named after my 2 grandmothers. And so when I was a butler 20 years ago, whatever, I needed an email address, right? Everybody's using Hotmail. And so I put Aphrodite, and then my birthday is December 2nd. So Aphrodite_122@hotmail.com. And then I just knew my business name was going to have Romans 12:2 in it. And Elevate has to do with your mindset and just thinking not as what the world wants you to think, but what I think as God speaks to you and what he wants to tell you. So as I was writing out, I didn't realize until that time that it was my birthday, was December 2nd. So that was really neat. All right. So I'm a certified physician assistant, but then I became certified with the Maxwell team to be a speaker, trainer, coach. Jack is on this call. He was my intro into the John Maxwell team. And the reason why I chose them was because they're focused on the next generation. They're really focused on bringing these personal growth, leadership concepts to the next generation. It's like, why are we learning these things into our 30s and 40s and 50s? You know, we need to seed these concepts earlier in life. Like, everyone's wired differently, like playing into your strengths, leading yourself before you lead others. So they're really focused on that. And that's something I really loved about them. And John Maxwell, he's faith-based and started as a pastor in Indiana. So I call myself a growth catalyst. I really love thinking outside the box and help people be a catalyst for people in their lives. And I love learning. So thinking outside the box and helping people elevate their lives. My 3 biggest areas of focus are mindset, personal growth, and health. I think if you get those 3 things right, you can do wonderful things in life. Obviously, under each category, you know, like in health, you can talk about mental health, spiritual health, physical health, mindset, and personal growth. They each can have their own categories, but those are the 3 big buckets that I love focusing on. And I really have learned and have come to appreciate this idea that we get better by just becoming 1% better every day. It's just small, consistent steps. And I know life gets busy and we get distracted with the noise of the world, but I really love that you can just stay consistent and just take small steps every day. It doesn't have to be huge strides. And then that, like in finances, just compounds over time and leads to incredible results. So just start early, start small, and just be consistent. All right. A little bit about my why. So everyone says, why don't you go back to being a PA? I still have my license. It's, you know, nice, easy, cush job. I feel called to do something else. So it's really that if I could boil it down, I want to help people every day in their lives and for a bigger purpose and reason than just a few appointments a year. So if I could boil it down, that's what it is. Plus, I'm not a really 9-to-5 person. I love, again, thinking outside the box and doing different things. I'm able to use my strengths, so more strategic thinking, innovation, creativity, and hopefully being able to scale to a place where I can really have a bigger impact and serve others. And then I love Nexus because it's all about impact. So 10% of time, treasure is all about giving to the next generation. And if I could do more, I'd love to do that as well. So if you saw Robin's email, I've pivoted a little bit. When I first started my business, not even a year ago, I was really focused on entrepreneurial parents and young adults. Entrepreneurial parents because I've seen, coming from the medical world to the business world, how many of these concepts we need to start teaching our kids early on. And especially if you own a business, I mean, if you want to have some personal growth, have some kids and have a business. I mean, you get to learn a lot about yourself. So, and there can be a little bit of feelings of guilt, and there are two different silos and a struggle. And there's really so much overlap that when you bring your kids on the journey, they can learn so much just about life and perseverance and believing in themselves and playing into their strengths and surrounding yourself with others with strengths that you don't have. And everyone has those for a different reason and different purpose, and that makes a great team. So, and then there was more one-on-one, and then also with young adults into their first decade of life. But what I really do love is kind of this environment of where everyone shares ideas and everyone comes together, because I think everyone's different perspectives and backgrounds is what helps everyone the most. It's not just one person. So the way that I can see this moving forward is, yes, still help individuals, because I love that, helping them just be consistent, get 1% better, because we all have distractions in life, and also organizations. I love the workshops and trainings on those three areas: mindset, personal growth, and health. Thinking outside the box. I love brainstorming. If anyone's stuck and you just need someone to just, have a different perspective on things, because sometimes when we're in it, we can't quite see clearly. I love doing that. Consistency coach. I don't know that I love the word accountability, but just helping you stay on track with things. And then mastermind groups, I think, are really powerful and great. Let me see if the chat. Oh, thanks, Greg. Time's going fast. All right, so that's it. What's coming up? I'm hosting a health workshop on June 17th, all about optimizing your health for the times that we're in right now. We're seeing a lot of people are being impacted because we just maybe have not made great decisions with our health. And DISC workshop, again, behavior communication, if not anyone's familiar with DISC. And I'm beta testing an idea about a daily text that people will get to help elevate their mindset. A podcast, hopefully coming soon, and then a monthly membership model. So that's it. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. There we go.
I'll throw the first one out. So you're talking about a podcast. What do you hope that will be, and what's the purpose of the podcast?
Yeah, good question. So it'll be rotating those three concepts. So mindset, personal growth, health. So, I think mindset is everything. It's what you think, you feel, you act on, and what you act on, those are the results that you're going to get. It's kind of, that flow that some of us have learned, but that's what it's all about. So, there's a phrase that I love. It says where your mind goes, your energy flows. So wherever your mind is where your energy is going to go into. So if you can get that right, so many things in life can be fixed. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard when we're just doing it on our own and we're thinking in our own head sometimes. So it's good to get a different perspective. And then that's my doggy. And then personal growth. I think we always need to be learning and growing. And health, like I said, can be broken down into different areas. So it'll put those three concepts rotating.
Hi, Anna. I have a question. I didn't follow it. Are you not focusing on youth at all? I'm just curious, because I would imagine that there's a pretty high demand for teens in this area, and I have a couple of them. So just curious if you're thinking about that.
Yeah, it's not that
anymore.
I'm not focusing on them. I think that the niche has changed from people necessarily to the concepts. So it's more of those concepts of mindset, personal growth, health. So when I talk about like that membership, for example, I'm really thinking about creating something for teens and young adults, right? Or middle schoolers. But then there can be a separate one for, entrepreneurs or adults. So it's not necessarily that I'm not serving them. It's just that I'm changing the front page, if you will, to just be entrepreneurial parents and young adults. Like my website, for example, was entrepreneurial parents, young adults. Those were the two buckets. Now instead those are the three concepts, and then I can serve different people under those three concepts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. No, I love it. I have a heart for kids. Actually, the reason why I didn't go into peds even when I was a PA was my first rotation was peds, and it was not in a great area, and my heart just broke for them. I mean, I was like, I can't do this, because you just see that they're so helpless, and sometimes they're just sick at the hands of the people who are caring for them. So no, I have a huge heart for the next generation, and I think it's our responsibility to help them with what we've learned and done in life.
Well, excellent. We're about at 16 minutes here, but if you could, I went ahead and put your website address, but if you could put your best email address, contact information there. If people have other questions, they can shoot it at you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Cool. Let's go ahead and do DJ and Aisha. If you guys are ready, I'll let you share the screen.
Very good. Aisha will be unmuting and sharing, and she'll kick us off.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining today. DJ and I are relatively new to the Nexus family and really excited we literally just joined before the shutdown, and have been really excited to meet everyone through these sessions and get to know the Nexus family. We are going to cover spin and fab for marketing. Spin selling has been around for a while. It was created by Neil Rackham, and we have mutated it a little bit for marketing and made a few tweaks to it so that we believe that the better your marketing, the less selling that you actually have to do. And so what we try to encourage people to do is to really create their customer avatars and figure out what it is their message needs to be. And so that's actually why we started McCord and Cargile, because we realized that small businesses, nonprofits, new entrepreneurs had a hard time showing their value, understanding what their value was, and then conveying that message to their target audience. So my name is Aisha Cargile. I am a passion in trade, marketing educator, business strategist, and co-founder, managing partner of McCord and Cargile Marketing, and DJ.
I'm DJ McCord, and I've got educational and experience background in marketing. And I joined with Aisha about a little over 4 years ago now to form our marketing firm.
So why spin and fab? The reason why we do spin and fab, and this is one of the fundamentals that we work with clients, friends, anyone who is looking to really narrow down their audience and their message on, is because it helps you identify who your target audience is. It allows you to determine who it is that you need to be speaking to, so that the messages that you're sending out, the marketing that you're doing, is actually going to the right people. Because it doesn't matter how great your message is and how wonderful your product or service or a nonprofit is if you're talking to the wrong people. It also helps you gain clarity around what you're offering and why it's valuable to other people, and allows you to align your product offering and the message and your target audience and your messaging and unify everything.
So when we communicate our value, there's two aspects to this. Spin talks about the target audience we're talking to. Situation, problem, implications, needs, benefits. We'll explain each of these in some detail. And then on the other side, with the fab side, features, advantages, and benefits, really describes what it is that you bring to the marketplace. So next slide. So we'll first start off on the side of who it is you're talking to, your target market. And we'll describe that with the 4 steps. What's the situation? What's the problem? What's the implications? The needs, benefits. Aisha.
Right, so we are going to start with spin, and the situation is essentially what your the scenario, the situation that your target audience is in, and for each of these we are going to provide an example, so to kind of help for reference. So it is the set of realities that your target audience, your specific audience is facing. So we actually have decided to use Nexus as our example because everyone can relate. And so for all of these, it relies specifically to Nexus. So the example here is one of their target audiences may be a business or nonprofit with a limited budget and without a physical local workspace. So what you'll notice here is that this is just a situation that is neither good nor bad.
That leads us into the problem, and the problem is in a specific issue, a specific lack that's going to have some kind of implications or consequences if that problem is not addressed. Sometimes we talk about a pain point that your target audience might have and might want to address. Now, it's possible that you're going to have audiences, more than one audience, and they have more than one problem, but it's recommended by Neil Rackham to do a spin statement for each specific problem. An example would be for target audience, perhaps for Nexus, would be organizations that don't have a local workplace that gives them these things that they need: conducive productivity, publishable address, professional environment, and access to technology. Aisha.
Which takes us into implications. So implication dives a little deeper into the problem. This is what happens if the problem is not addressed. So the natural consequences of not dealing with the situation, the problem that the target audience may be in. And so for Nexus, the example may be the inability to focus and complete work tasks. For many of us who have been kind of forced to work from home, and for those of us who have those distractions, whether it is family or the phone ringing or just looking around your house and realizing that there are other things that you need to address, which distracts you from getting your work done, being able to go into a professional environment, an environment specifically designed for you to focus is helpful and is beneficial. So a loss of another implication is loss of clients due to incongruent or unprofessional presentation. While there's there's nothing wrong with meeting clients at a Starbucks, if that is the only place that you have to meet them, sometimes it can lead to not such an incongruent image and a less than professional and polished image. And a place like Nexus provides you with a professional workplace where you can go in and meet in a quiet environment with clients. Not addressing the first two can lead to not being able to get your work done, a loss of clients, which of course leads to a loss of potential revenue.
And so the N refers to two concepts brought together: needs and benefits. So your target audience, within a situation, they've got a specific problem, and it's a problem because of the implications that flow from it. So the real question then is, what do they need? And in this example, the Nexus example, potential customers or clients of Nexus, they might need something that we'll give an illustration to in just a moment. But it's going to be a good or a service, that's something that you can provide to your target audience that's going to address that problem. And then the tie-in here is the benefits. The benefits are, what are they going to get out of addressing that need through you, or having you address that need for them? And then the result then would be to hopefully remove or mitigate those implications. For example, with Nexus, Nexus would have a client audience, a target audience, with the need for a place to do their work that's got the conducive productivity, gives them a publishable address, gives them to meet clients, and access to office technology. Aisha.
Example?
Oh yeah, and then the tie-in, thank you. The tie-in for benefits, we're going to see this on the other side of what you as an organization offer. But on the spin side, what the need that your potential clients have, if addressed, will give them some kind of benefits. And in this case, in our example, the benefits they would have would be basically they don't have to worry about space anymore, losing clients or losing the revenue.
So when we talk about that spin, and spin focuses on your target audience. Fab, however, focuses on you, on your organization, the product and or service that you provide. And this covers whether it's a for-profit or a non-for-profit. So it covers the full spectrum. Okay, and that is the features, advantages, and benefits. So your features, and this is where some people kind of get a little confused. The features are the they're essentially the specs of your organization, your product, or your service. These are the facts of what you provide. So they're factual, they're observable properties. So for example, for Nexus specifically, Nexus has a central location. Now, central can be considered an opinion, but if you tie it into a central location for those in the northern Indianapolis area, then that is a fact. It's got on-site staff, it has meeting rooms, it has reliable office technology, and it's got 24/7 access. These are facts, and as a result, they are features.
That takes us into the advantages. And what we want to highlight in advantages is why someone should come to you to get their needs addressed. How are they going to be better off for getting the features that you offer? An example, in this case, for Nexus, is the advantages are numerous. And I won't list all of those, but these are the advantages that your potential clients could get if they get the service that you offer with its features. Aisha.
So DJ, I do want to make sure that we highlight the most important part of the most important of Nexus, which is of course the last one, the friendly, bright, great looking tenants. Just want to make sure we know that.
What can we say?
That already wins you a lot.
So the benefits for working at Nexus. So the benefits in general are your benefits here should in some way tie to the benefits for the spin for your customer avatar. If there is not a connection somewhere in there, then the process is broken, and you need to make sure then your message is not going to get to the right person. So the benefits of working with you. The benefits are the outcomes consumers can expect as a result of utilizing your product, your service, or interacting with your nonprofit. So example, the benefit for that many of us are experiencing working with Nexus is that we have the opportunity to get things done. Right, we have a great workspace. We have all the tools that we need. We have access to whatever it is that we need to have access to. We can present our organizations professionally. We get to interact and collaborate with a community of positive, impact-focused organizations. For an example, this event here is a benefit of working with Nexus. And then we get to expand the network. We get to expand our network of resources.
So very quick recap. On the side of describing our target market, we'll describe the situation they're in, a specific problem they have, the implications of that problem, and then the needs that they have, and the benefit of satisfying those needs. And then on the side of the service or products we offer, we can describe the first in factual features, which give advantages, and end it up in the less tangible but more profound benefits that flow from those features. Aisha.
So this is why we're doing Spin and Fab, because it is one of the fundamentals of being able to talk about your organization and ensuring that you're talking to the right people. So we covered a lot of information really quickly. And so what we have done is we've ensured that that you guys have resources available to you. So we have a spin marketing page on our website, and the link I believe is going to be in the comments and also provided, but it's McCordandCargile.com/spin marketing. So I want to make sure that you guys have the spin marketing on the end, because that is not a link that is reachable through just going to McCord and Cargile marketing, McCordandCargile.com. On here, you will have a download to a worksheet that will take you through Spin and Fab. It has the questions you need to answer in order to be able to complete your Spin and Fab. It also has 2 examples for you to reference. And I believe we've also uploaded this particular presentation if you need to refer back to it. And this is our contact information. If you feel free to reach out to us if you have questions or if you're struggling with it. And does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for making that available, Aisha. I would say that when we met, and then I met DJ, one thing that I appreciated about you guys that helped me assure me that you guys were a great fit for Nexus is you while yes, it's a company and you need to have clients and make money, you also want to equip people to do what they can do on their own. So you said you would sit down with someone in a budget and say, okay, here's a plan. Maybe I can coach you on how you can do this part and not have to pay me. And then I can do that part. So, and then you also do some things with youth and students as well. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the programs that we have is we invite high school students, preferably juniors and seniors, and college students who are looking to gain a little experience, whether it's in marketing or running a business or just talking to clients in general. We allow them to kind of come in and work with us and learn some new skills.
Because we really believe with McCord and Cargile that give a person a fish, feed them for a day. Teach a person marketing, feed them for a lifetime.
Yeah, and that was something that I noticed on the material. I believe it's there on your website, that you encourage and try to find things that you can teach them to do themselves instead of relying on you all to just, you know, keep providing that service, which I really appreciate. This is a very honest, very genuine approach of doing that. Why have you guys made that decision? You mentioned teaching them to fish, but what's the thought process behind giving some of your own skill sets to them to use themselves?
So DJ and I, we're both educators at heart. We like teaching people stuff, new stuff. And that moment when that clicks and people go, oh, it's like the most beautiful thing in the world to us. In fact, we met in an educational environment. And as people who have worked with nonprofits, we volunteered, we've started them and new businesses. We know that in the beginning, money is rough. You know, it's hard to come by, and you have to be very strategic where you spend it. And so we don't. The entire point of creating MCMR, McCord and Cargile, was to provide a resource, and it needs to be sustainable. So we do have to charge something, but our goal is to make sure that you have the information and the knowledge that you need to continue. And so if you choose to have us do something, it's a choice and not because you have to, because you don't know how.
Nice. I like the way you guys bounce back and forth. That was slick. Very, very nice. I like it.
Thank you.
Spin's good stuff, and that's cool how you combine those two together. Thank you for sharing. That was really neat.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys for that. That's awesome. I try to do my best there in the comment section. Got your website, that specific website that you'd mentioned, the /spin marketing, and then your email address and phone number. If there's anything else on there that you want to include, feel free to do that. We're going to pass it off to Joe, and you can kind of take the next 15 minutes.
So my name is Joe Yocum. I'm the executive director for Playworks. I oversee operations in Indiana and Kentucky and maybe some other states in the near future. Audrey's also on the call. She is our program director. So she oversees everything that has to do with the work that we do in partnerships with schools and youth serving organizations, manages our people, manages our school partnerships. She basically runs this place. So I'll give the presentation, and then if you have hard questions, I'll let her answer those. So Playworks, we are a national nonprofit organization that has been around for about 24 years. And we exist to answer a need of how to create positive learning environments for children, as well as think about how to help them develop critical social emotional skills in order for them to succeed where they are at, as well as later in life. So some of the issues that we are involved in and tied to are things like bullying that happens in schools that is often the result of lack of social emotional skill, other negative behaviors that then result in loss of quality instructional time. And so as you can imagine, if teachers, educators are spending their time breaking up fights or addressing behaviors, then they're not actually teaching, or they're not actually engaging kids in whatever it is that they are there to engage kids in. So for example, we also work with out of school time professionals, so boys and girls clubs. You know, we don't want them spending their time addressing behaviors. We want them spending their time providing enrichment activities and tutoring and all the other cool things that they provide to the kids. And then the other big issue, or another one of the big issues, is the amount or lack thereof of physical activity that kids are engaged in. And so Playworks was established, like I said, about 24 years ago, and our mission is to improve the health and well-being of children by increasing opportunities for safe, meaningful play. And when we talk about well-being, that is all-encompassing. We think of well-being as being physical, as being social, and emotional. And we believe, and we have proof, that play is a great tool to increase a child's well-being in all of those areas. And so our vision is that one day, every child in America will get to play in a safe and healthy way every single day. So you might say, Joe, doesn't every kid play? That's what kids do. And the answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. And some who are playing may not be doing it in the most productive way. So that's where Playworks comes in. So what we actually do is we provide both let me say what we did prior to a pandemic is we provided direct services and professional development training. Our direct services are focused on K-8 schools, again, across the country, but we focus our work in direct services in the central Indiana area, as well as in Lafayette, where we place either full-time or part-time play workers in schools, and they are facilitating recess. They're doing after-school programming. They're doing what we call class game time. They are teaching the older kids in the schools to be leaders on the playground and in their classrooms through what we call a junior coach program. So it's a really intensive intervention that we provide in the schools that we serve. And then we also provide a variety of professional development trainings, and these are given all over the state, and they range from 1 day of training to 5 days of really intensive on-site training and coaching, in order to really hand over our strategies and techniques with the goal of self-sustainability, right? We don't, much like the previous presentation, we don't want these schools and organizations to have to lean on us forever. We want to work with them to gain the skills they need in order to move forward and create the best environment. So some of the impact that we know, this is, we are an evidence-based program, which means that there has been controlled studies done on Playworks. And these are the results of the controlled studies that were done out of Stanford, Mathematica. And so we have seen statistical results in, as it relates to bullying, as it relates to students feeling safer at school, kids being engaged in more vigorous activity and being ready to learn. There's a lot of studies around play, fostering more focus and engagement even in classroom activities, which we also see in our work. Some impact numbers for Indiana. This is from last school year, the 18-19 school year. We served over 34,000 kids, which included 223 junior coaches. Those are those young 4th, 5th, and 6th graders that we train to be leaders on the playground and in their schools, and trained over 1,300 educators across the state. Those numbers are fun, and I get really excited about that because we, at that time, were I think only a staff of 6 or 7 full-time staff. So it's a pretty intense amount of kids to serve. We do have AmeriCorps members that also serve with us, and so they're a part of that as well. But the thing that gets me the most excited is the data in the blue, and it's the way our educators feel about us. And so we ask all of our educators at the end of every year at the schools that we serve to tell us about their experience working with us and their experience implementing our programs and whether or not they think it's really making a difference. And 95% of them believe that we help create opportunities for inclusion of diverse groups of students. To me, that is is huge. And really the whole reason while we're here, we want to grow social emotional skills. We want to create positive environments, but we want to do it for every single kid. 92% believing that we improve their overall school climate, right? Through play, right? We didn't invent play. We just have figured out a way to harness it for positive outcomes. And then that last part is 14 hours of recovered academic time, just from addressing transitions from recess to learning over the school year. And so it's really important to us that we allow kids to get the absolute most out of their recess time. Some kids only get 15, 20 minutes of recess. So we want to make sure that they get the absolute most out of recess time and that they are absolutely ready to learn when they get back in the classroom. And so this is I get really excited about data. I'm kind of a data nerd. So these are some of the other outcomes from our educational surveys. You can see we had over 400 people respond. This was just, like I said, last school year. But we measure our results on the playground because that is where we do a lot of our work. So we want to make sure that we're seeing less disciplinary issues and less bullying. We want to see, more cooperation, kids really resolving their own conflicts. We want to see kids being empowered to resolve their own challenges and then get back to play. But we also want to understand how this impacts the kids in the classroom. Because again, we are about the whole child and about their whole experience, and not just the experience they're having while they're playing, but how the experience while they're playing can impact their experience throughout the school day and hopefully after. So we're seeing kids that are more engaged in academics because of their work and Playworks, as well as spending less time resolving conflicts. So where we are now, I'm going to speed through this. I'm almost out of time, but our current situation, as most of you probably know, is that schools are closed. Nearly 30 million kids are out of school. So kids don't have access to play. Adults are being asked to work from home. They're not fully equipped with providing activities that engage kids in play and social emotional learning. And so we, and these are all the different things that we're hearing from teachers, that the need that they currently have. How do they engage kids still? How do they keep them active? How do we manage stress? And so we quickly, when the school shut down, pivoted and launched Playworks Play at Home. This is all stuff that you all can access if you're interested, but we have a playbook online. It's currently in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. It's getting ready to come out in Arabic and Russian and a few other languages. But it's a game guide that's full of games that can be played at home with very few people, with little to no equipment. We have virtual recess that's every day of the week, 3 times a day on Facebook. And we have high quality videos that are done and available on our website to show kids and families how to play the different games. Because I figured this would be a question, I wanted to go ahead and show you what our funding model is. Often people, that's the first question they want to know from a nonprofit. More than half of our funding comes from our school partners. So they pay a portion of what it costs in order to partner with them. And then we do fundraise from private donors, a portion, and then we are an AmeriCorps organization. I just figured I'd throw it out there because typically it's a question I get asked. And I would be the worst executive director in the world if I did not let you know that it is Giving Tuesday. And if you don't choose to donate to Playworks, I would highly encourage you to think about who your favorite nonprofit is and make a donation. As most small businesses are struggling right now, nonprofits are extremely struggling. If you can imagine businesses struggling, then they're not able to give in the same way that they may be used to. So those of us who can give right now to our favorite nonprofits, I would encourage you to do so. I'll be happy to take any questions. Stop sharing my screen. You can look at the chat.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Jack. So I have a client who does daycare preschool type stuff. Would that be a good referral for you? Would that be a good connection?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We just recently launched some services for pre-K organizations, and actually have a hefty contract with the state Department of Health to provide services to those centers as well.
Nice.
Joe, do you still do the corporate recesses?
Oh,
Okay. And
Yeah.
then where does that fall in your model for the revenue? Do you classify that with partner income or fundraising or what?
It's classified as fundraising because that's typically how a corporation wants to look at it. So we do. Part of the way we bring in revenue is through things called corporate recess. So most of our private philanthropy, or at least a little bit more than half, is from businesses and corporations. And usually those partners want to have some sort of activation. And so those activations range from us, a corporate recess, which is actually where we go to them and lead their employees in days of play or a couple hours of play in order to provide them with the same type of skill building and team building that we would with kids. We believe that play brings out the best in every kid and adult. Or we'll do like physical service days for them and invite them out to one of our playgrounds. We'll repaint a playground with them. We also just started doing virtual corporate recesses, which I just participated in my first one. I was a little leery about it, but it was really fun. So I'm less leery about it now. And hopefully when we're all back together, we at one point got the green light to put a Foursquare out on the blacktop. I have a dream of having like a Nexus kickball day. So at some point in time when we're all back together, we would love to host that.
I think that's a great idea. I'll shoot video of it. I don't know if I'll participate in it. It's probably best for everyone. You've got a couple more minutes if people have more questions. I do want to say your graphs as far as showing the impact was incredibly helpful. I was sitting here jotting down the questions I wanted to ask you as you were answering them for me. Specifically how you pivoted so quickly when all of this went down. I mean, your entire organization and mission has to do with school kids gathering in large numbers. And the fact that you were able to very quickly, it seems, provide these resources and in a variety of different ways. You didn't mention much, but these Facebook Lives, you're encouraging people to kind of tune in on Facebook Live, and what do those look like? And I assume you're still doing those.
Yeah, we're still doing them. And in fact, I think we've kind of decided it's probably something we should continue to do, given that even if school does start in the fall, there's potential for intermittent closure. So how we did it, I don't know. There's people like Audrey across the state who are far smarter than I am, who put their heads together and figured out how to leverage what we do know, our intellectual property, and put it out there. And there were enough of us at the time to do that quickly. Unfortunately, shortly after that happened, we actually had to furlough almost 90% of our national staff. Thanks to the PPP, we were able to bring everybody back. But if you're familiar with PPP, that only holds us until the middle of June. So future is unknown because it also depends on what schools will need and what organizations will need. All we know is we want kids moving, and we want kids playing in a way that develops their social emotional skills. And we know that the need for that will be far more critical than ever before. And the need for producing joy in their lives versus this stress. And then the Facebook recesses, so there's 3 a day. The first one is a warm up. They're all pretty short. They're 15 minutes-ish long. First one's a warm up, second one's a game, and the third one's a cool down. And they're done by Playworks staff members, coaches, directors, EDs across the country. We record them and put them into a folder, and they get uploaded through this Facebook Premiere, it's called. I didn't even know it existed. Yep. You can record and produce later. So in fact, we had an intern that some of you might have met at Nexus. Her name was Shekinah. She was there for a short period of time. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but she even recorded some in Spanish. So we have some bilingual recesses up. I think we're going to do bilingual Fridays is what I've heard. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I love to hear new ideas that especially nonprofits are putting forward, that you're all realizing this is a good idea that should continue whatever happens with COVID. So that's awesome. I'll definitely have to check those out.
Yeah, please do.
Technically, we're over time, but we've still got 5 minutes to 4 o'clock. So I don't want to stifle any conversation or any other questions that you all have. I did not. I threw the one website address down there in the comment section, but if you would be willing to an email address and a phone number or the best way of getting a hold of you. Maybe even your Facebook page as well. I think that would be really good. So I think that's all we've got for today. I will stop the timer because it's anything you want to add, Roxie, Robin? Not a thing.
Well, I'll add just before we close. So for May 12th, we have our presenters confirmed. So Terry, who's on here today, Collabro Creative, will be presenting on next Tuesday. She will be joined by Early Learning Alliance, Jody Britton, and our final presentation will be with Tooling U. So John Sweeney will be our third presenter for next week.
Awesome. If you all are okay with it, I will put in a shameless plug. So our nonprofit organization, we create Bible videos that we produce by shooting stuff overseas. We're premiering a new children's series this Saturday. It was supposed to be a large event where we got 200 plus kids in the, and that's obviously not happening. So we're doing a Facebook Live this Saturday at 7 o'clock, and I'll go ahead and put our Facebook page in the comment section as well. About 90 minutes, we're going to be, showing some pre-recorded content, a few of the short episodes, and interviewing some of our team members that helped to make it happen. So
very cool.
You got nothing better to do on a Saturday night, get your kids together, and we'll be premiering that.
Congratulations. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been holding on to it because we were kind of secretly hoping that we could all still kind of get back together and fill a room full of people. And we think that it's best to get this out and make it available. And sometime later this year, we'll meet somewhere and actually do it in person. But
cool.
Awesome.
Craig, I wish I would have known this shirt came in gray, because I think gray is a lot more manly than the pink, but I just
I wasn't going to point it out, but thank you. No, it's a good one. It's comfy.
Jackie, make the pink work.
Well, it was great to see everybody's faces, and I was up at Nexus yesterday, and we were resetting some spaces and moving stuff around to put some of those new protocols in place that I sent out, and we can't wait to see you guys in person again. We're going to keep doing these until we make it through everybody, probably. I feel like we've had a decent turnout to it, and it's a great way to just learn a little bit about each other, and so you know what somebody does when you see them in the hall. And
thanks for all the communication too, Robin. You guys are doing a great job just keeping us in the loop and doing stuff like this. It makes it feel like a community more so than I remember another co-working place that, whatever. But this, you guys make it feel like a community. It's really cool. It's really neat.
Thanks, Jack. You make it feel like a community too.